Alright, hey everybody, this is ML.Michael7 of the Storm Wardens clan, and as you guys know, in the latest clan wars we've been getting matched up against some really tough clans, and I came up with an explanation as to why that is, and I also have a couple of solutions so that we can possibly alleviate that problem in the future. So, there are a few things you have to know to understand the problem. The first thing is offensive points, and I'll cover that, the defensive points. I'll also talk about your clan rank, which doesn't make much of a difference, but it's nice to know that anyway. Your total score, which is how you get matched up. Things that aren't taken into account when the matchmaking system matches you up with another clan. And then what we can do as a clan to get better and get ourselves better matches so we don't have to keep facing these insanely tough clans. So, the first thing is offensive points. So all the troops and the spells have a point value. I don't know what the value is. I can calculate it out later, but as of right now I don't know the exact value, but I know that some troops are valued higher than others. Now since I can't tell you the exact value of any of the troops, I don't know which troops are valued higher, but I know for sure that archers are valued higher than barbarians. So every time you level up one of these troops, you're going to get points against us in the clan, because the higher the score is, the higher the matchmaking system will try to match us with another clan who has an equal score, if that makes any sense. So this is also the total number of upgraded spells and troops is what determines your recommended target in the war, and the total of your spell value and your troop value is what gives you your offensive total. And then there's also defensive points. So only the towers and traps have a defensive value. So things that don't kill enemies don't count. And then again, there's a hierarchy. So everything is valued more so than the thing that comes before it. So for example, archer towers have a higher value than cannons. So basically, if I had nothing in my base except one archer tower, and my friend had nothing in his base except a cannon, my base would be valued higher than his because archer towers are greater than cannons. So every time you level up a defensive tower or a trap, then that gets defensive points. So again, the hierarchy. Alright, and then the clan rank, this is just good to know. It's determined only by your base. It has absolutely nothing to do with your troop levels. It's exactly the same as the loot bonus. I think I'm going to be able to use the loot bonus to calculate out exactly how much each tower is worth. I'm going to play around with that later, and I'll post the results if I find anything that's worth mentioning. And then, so the total score, here's the important part. Now the formula is your total offensive points, which is your total value of your spells and your troops, plus your defensive points, which is the total value of your traps and your towers. Now that equals your total score, and if you take the total score of all the people that are in the war, for example, I think right now we have 30 people in the war, so if you take the total scores from those 30 people that are in the war, now that's the number that the matchmaking system is based off of. So the matchmaking system will try to find a clan that has an equal score. And then this has nothing to do with base layouts, it has nothing to do with the troops you use, it has nothing to do with strategy or trophies, which is why the system works the way it does, but it's also why it's imperfect. And the imperfections and the flaws in the system, that's what's getting us the really tough clans right now. So I'll go into the flaws now. Now, non-defensive structures are not taken into account. So if it doesn't kill troops, it doesn't count. That's how I like to think of it. So if you have a gold storage or an elixir storage, or you have 2 builders' huts or 5 builders' huts, it doesn't matter. Now that might not sound like a huge difference, but if I have 5 builders' huts and my friend has 2, then I can put builders' huts all over the place, and while it's not very hard to kill any of them, it does take more time. And as we know, the clock can be a better defense than even the clan troops in the clan castle when it comes down to these big clan wars. So, now here's a little bit of math behind it. Now I'm going to just say, for the sake of this, that there are only 3 kinds of troops in Clash of Clans now. You can just forget about everything else. Now, this isn't the actual value, but if barbarians were worth 1, giants were worth 2, and P.E.K.K.A.s were worth 3, then this is how this would play out. So, let's say this guy over here, he has all of these troops leveled up to level 3. This guy hasn't touched P.E.K.K.A.s at all. Now, the thing is, both of these guys never use P.E.K.K.A.s in their actual attacks. They absolutely never use P.E.K.K.A.s. They only use barbarians and giants. So this guy has the things that he uses leveled up to 3, but he also has the P.E.K.K.A. that he doesn't use leveled up to 3. And this guy focused on the troops that he actually uses and leveled them up to 4. So every time you level it up, the point value right here gets counted against you, and that goes into your offensive points. So your totals for your offensive points in this section would be 3, 6, and 9 for this guy, and 4, 8, and 0 because he's never put a point into any of his P.E.K.K.A.s. So the thing is, this guy A over here, he has more offensive points. In fact, he has 18 points in offense, and this guy has 12 points in offense. So this guy over here is making the war harder for us because he has more leveled up troops. Now, I'm not saying that's necessarily a bad thing, because it's good to have good troops, whether or not it's making it harder on the matchmaking system for us. But what's killing us is the points that are actually being used. Since this guy doesn't use P.E.K.K.A.s, these 9 points over here are absolutely killing us. Because if you're leveling up things that you're not using, then you're making the point value of your troops higher, but you're not actually using any of it. It's kind of like if you have somebody in your clan who's a Town Hall 10 and they have great defense and they're not using their attacks because they're getting you matched up with a harder clan, but they're not actually helping you beat that other clan. It's the same way with these 9 points right here. He's only actually using 9 of the points out of his 18 that's getting factored in and matching us up against a really hard clan. This guy is actually using all 12 of his points, so he's doing the right thing. Now, there are a lot of other flaws. Everything is weighted differently, so there's a specific value for every time you level up a troop. There will be a value that's counted against you in the matchmaking system. Now, these are weighted very poorly, in my opinion, because expos are not weighted as highly as they should be. For example, we had a war the other day where Flight Time 10 was the number 22 guy in our clan, and if you're not familiar with his base, he's a Town Hall 8, and the guy that was matched up, his twin on the other side, who was number 22 in the other clan, had 2 expos. Now, I don't know about you, but I'd rather attack a Town Hall 8 than a guy that has 2 expos, and this guy's defenses weren't even bad, so expos, in my opinion, are weighted heavily improperly, but I'll uncover that when I do the math behind it. And walls are weighted as practically nothing at all. See, I know that because if you're not familiar with it, me and Bean and Bo are all right on the verge of upgrading to Town Hall level 9. And when I was starting to get all my walls level 8, those guys were on level 7, and we all had defenses that were pretty much equal, but for a while I was behind because the walls are worth practically nothing. So if a cheap way to get a stronger base without getting a lot of points counted against you is walls, because walls are definitely undervalued, because the difference between a level of walls could be a P.E.K.K.A. one-shotting your wall versus a P.E.K.K.A. two-shotting your wall. Now, a P.E.K.K.A. only attacks every couple of seconds, so if he has to hack through 4 walls, and now it takes him twice as long to hit through all those walls, then maybe he runs out of time going for the builder's hut in the corner, rather than kills it with 2 seconds to go. And then another thing is it doesn't take the Town Hall into account at all. Now, like I said, it doesn't count any non-defensive towers, and that includes the Town Hall, which means that there's just flat out more stuff to destroy. So, like, the Town Hall has more hit points. You have more elixir collectors. You have more dark elixir collectors. You might have more builders' huts. You probably have more HP on your barracks. That doesn't count for anything at all. Plus, if you have Town Hall, whether or not you've leveled up all the stuff that you have in your base, you have access to better troops. And so if you've done, like I said before, if you've only leveled up the troops that you actually use, then having a Town Hall 9 would be a lot better than having a Town Hall 8 with all the troops maxed, even the ones you don't use. Now, another thing is it doesn't take trophies into account. Now, I'm not saying that it should, because that would be a horrible idea, because all we would have to do was just have everybody go down to Bronze League, and then we would get matched up with insanely easy clans based on trophy count. But if there was some way that people could have, that we could like have an accurate trophy count, I don't know, if there was anything like that, then it would be easier to match up people of equal skill level. Now, for us to stop having these problems where we keep getting matched up against really hard clans, the first thing that I have bolded here is to only level up the troops and the spells that you actually use. For example, right now, I have level 3 minions. I have never once used my level 3 minions. So while that's worth probably not a lot in the points that are counted against us in the matchmaking system, it definitely does get us matched up against clans that are just a tiny bit harder. And if everybody were to stop leveling up things that they're not actually using, for example, I have level 5 barbarians. Well, not a lot of us use barbarians. So if we're leveling up our barbarians needlessly, then we're getting points counted against us in the matchmaking system, matching us up against harder clans. So if we were to not do that, then we get matched up against easier clans based on the total point value. Now, it's never a bad idea to upgrade your defenses, just know that for sure. If you're ever thinking like, oh, maybe I shouldn't upgrade my cannon because it'll get matched up against a harder person in the next clan, no, go ahead and upgrade. There's no point in not doing that. Max out your walls. That's huge actually, because it'll take all of the enemy troops a lot longer to hack through your defenses, and walls don't count against you much, or as much so as defensive towers or troops or spells. Now, upgrade absolutely all of your non-defensive structures, because like say you have like a spell factory, town hall, gold storage, etc. Those things are not counted against you at all in the matchmaking system, and every single one of those, when you upgrade, has extra hit points. Now, each one doesn't have a ton of extra hit points. In fact, it'll maybe be like 1 or 2 shots from a wizard difference. But again, if you have a lot of these things upgraded, that could be the difference between the guy running out of time in the last 2 seconds and destroying you for a 3-star. Now, I'm not saying rush your town hall, but definitely don't be afraid to upgrade. Like right now, I'm on the verge of Town Hall 9, and I'm probably going to upgrade because the only thing left for me to do is max my troops. And if I'm maxing healers and barbarians and goblins, then I'm just getting more points counted against us and matching us up against harder clans, and I'm not actually using any of it. So I hope you guys found this video informative, and I'll probably make another one when I find out the exact values. But for now, if you guys can just like follow a couple of these tips, we can probably get matched up against some clans that are considerably easier in future wars. Alright, thanks guys.